Yep, we're live. Cool. And we've got, I can see a couple of people. We've got Dave, another David, Eric, Jen, Mark, Vivian, Ashley. Good to see everyone.
Sure.
We might give it another 30 seconds or so. For those people who've already joined us, just pop in the chat box. Where are you zooming in from? Which state? Or even more specifically, which town if you're outside one of the capital cities? Just pop in the chat box where you're joining in from. Hey Liz, Redcliffe, that's not far away. Vivian from the Sunshine Coast. I've been dreaming about the Sunshine Coast. I really have. Anala, Dave. Hey Dave. I keep hearing good things about you, Dave. Surrey Hills. Come over with the baby. We've got 2 weeks left for the baby, so or 2 weeks and 1 day to due date. We'll see how we go. Hey Daniel. Oh, Auckland. That's not a state of Australia. Cool. Good to have you join in. Hi Julia. Alrighty. Well, we've got a few people on today. Well, I guess we might get into it then, and those people who are joining can catch up as we go. But I've been very excited to actually host this webinar and host it specifically with Rose from our team, who has probably been behind the scenes on, and we'll be able to quantify it for you on this webinar, but I'd say dozens of workshops and webinars over the past year. It's been a very intense year, but this is where Rose is actually going to run us through this webinar, which is pretty cool. So glad to have you on, Rose.
Thank you.
Awesome. And so I guess the reason why we sort of did a whole webinar on marketing is because we had a number of clients say, what are you doing? How do you do those video things? Or just interested to hear what we're doing from a marketing space. And so, yeah, I'd count at least a dozen people have asked me. Rose has been asked directly. We've had our team asked. So we thought we'd just kind of give you a look under our hood instead of the other way around this time, and just really walk you through what we do. And we can sort of answer questions as we go. Funnily enough, there's a few accountants who follow us as well, and I'd say a good portion of the people who registered and potentially who are joining us live as well are actually accountants. So that's pretty interesting to see. Alrighty, well, just a bit of an introduction to me first, and then we'll introduce Rose as well. But yeah, my name is Ben Walker, if we haven't met before. I started Inspire, which is the accounting firm that you must know somehow if you're joining us today, when I was 23 years old. And I think that makes, doing the maths on Inspire, I think that makes it, we're almost 8 years old next month in January, which is pretty cool. To date, we've saved our clients over $11.5 million worth of tax. In fact, yesterday we had one of the team, we did a look under the hood for a client and we found, was it 92 grand in tax savings, Rose?
Yeah, I believe so. Just
90,
super.
Yep, 92K, so almost six figures in tax savings, which is, yeah, I was blown away by it. We haven't had a big one like that in a little while, but that's sensational. And through our Day for a Dollar campaign, we've also given 11.5 million days of impact to families in need through our partnership with B1G1. And as a bit of an introduction to Rose, Rose started with Inspire in March 2019, so you've been with us for almost 2 years now, Rose basically makes it look easy for me. But she's the head of marketing, but drives and executes basically everything that we do here from a marketing perspective. But that'd be in a way, selling Rose short. She also does help a lot with the event coordination. So if you've come along to a workshop or even a webinar, she's been in the background, or she might have communicated with you before and after, that sort of thing. And then also with our partnerships at Inspire. So she's the key point of contact with some of our key partners, and also a part of Inspire's leadership team. So really cool to have you on, Rose.
Thank you. Thanks so much. And I'm really excited to be here today. And yeah, I'm just super amazed by how many people. I think we had over 100 people registered today to have a look at what we're going to be doing next year. So yeah, let's get straight into it. Today we're going to be covering what are the different types of speaking engagements that Ben does here at Inspire, how one webinar can extract up to 50 pieces of content, how we post up to 10 pieces of content daily, which is super amazing, how we manage and schedule content, and the key teams that we use, such as graphic designs, platforms, and video editors. So one of the key things that we do here are speaking engagements. Popular one that we do are podcast interviews. Ben, I think this year the popular topic has been JobKeeper. You were on the HR Hero podcast, so shout out to Natasha Hawker. I think you were on there a couple of times on JobKeeper. The Zen Business podcast, you gave a stimulus update back in April. And then you were also with the Reimagining Healthcare podcast, which I think is a group of, is it physios or a clinic?
Clinic owners, yeah. Through anyone who uses Core Plus, I think, gets an invitation along to that. That's Yanni
Sopranos. So yeah, and with that one in particular, it wasn't about JobKeeper. I think we talked about the philosophies that we have here in Inspire, and one of them is business is about numbers and family is number one. So yeah, these are just a few that we've done this year. On top of that, we also done a bunch of webinars for different types of people. Just last week, Ben did 2 webinars. One was with a group of physios as well, with Ian Tran, and he also did a webinar with Barbell's Babe Brigade, which is, I think, a gym franchise. Is that right?
Yeah, gym in Victoria.
Yeah, super cool. He did a mental live session. He also did some webinars for in the beauty space, which is really interesting. One with Sothies, the other was with the Loft Studio. You did a live stream on Facebook. I think that one was really cool. And you also got 2 paid speaking gigs with Sage, which, yeah, super awesome. You collaborated with Employee Matters and DK Legal, which is Natasha Hawker and Danny King. And we actually developed a service together, the 3 of us, and it was basically giving HR, legal, and accounting advice to business owners that were in need in this time.
Yep, that's it. And I guess the purpose of sharing these kind of key things is that's where a lot of our content or our marketing stems from. And I think it's important to understand, like, even when Rose prepared, because Rose actually did most of the work for this webinar, but when she was putting together the slides here, and I just had a look at the different things we'd done all year, and we're still not finished, by the way. We just go, wow, it's just so interesting to see that each of these things has a massive impact when we'll learn shortly how many different topics, different videos, different blog posts we can get out of just even one of these things.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I was even shocked when we were going through it together, because we've also, these are just external things. We did a lot of workshops and webinars ourselves, which I'll go through as well. So from March and up till today, we've done 17 webinars. And in March alone, we did, I think it was 5 webinars. So basically one every week. And yeah, I'll never forget this one in particular, Ben, which was the 17th of March. I believe on Friday, you told us that we were all going to be starting to work from home. And then on Monday, which was the 16th of March, we jumped on Zoom and you basically said, let's do a webinar tomorrow. I think everyone needs help right now. Let's do a business continuity planning. So we launched it that Monday, and overnight we had 270 registered, which, yeah, mind blown. Just to give context, we usually only get about 20 to 30 people registered. So for that to happen overnight, yeah, it was super amazing. And yeah, the following week we had another webinar, which was around 500 plus. So yeah, from March, we then decided to do webinars quite regularly because it was working for us. So pretty much about 1 to 2 every month, we do webinars now.
And I guess in that, the reason why March is so heavy as well is that was when a lot of the stimulus measures were being released. And it was almost like, I felt like we were journalists at the time where, and this is like a fairly big thing that we felt internally. Like we were hearing these updates from the government on like a Saturday or a Sunday on TV. I was watching ScoMo, I remember, and then in the following week they'd release it through their channels. But that doesn't mean clients aren't going to call us on Monday saying, "Hey, what's this job seeker that they mentioned the other day?" And so at the time, and I guess this is maybe a different perspective on the word marketing really, but at the time our accounting team were inundated with phone calls and emails saying help, but we needed a way to do that in a or I guess to share with our clients what's going on. That wasn't going to mean that our actual ability to get work done came to a complete stop because of the huge inflow. So we actually decided that these webinars weren't just essentially a way of marketing, but they're a way of communicating even to our clients what's going on with COVID, what stimulus measures are available to them, and then offering next steps in a one-to-many approach rather than hundreds of phone calls with our clients. And I know I'm not trying to say that we want to move backwards from the relationship, but I guess from an understanding perspective, if we can't actually get anything done, that's not going to work for anyone, us or our clients. So it did serve multiple purposes here. Yeah, and I guess in the whole thing of getting sorry, I'm losing that saying, but there is a saying there. It's not getting two birds stoned. That's the inappropriate one. There's another way to say that. But doing multiple things in one hit, we were also sharing that content with the broader market, and that's what was people really receptive to. And even our highest webinar there is 536 registrations, and I think we had a show up rate of about half of those who registered actually showed up, which was huge.
Yeah, Ben, I could just see some couple of questions in the Q&A. I just can't view them. If you could have a quick look for me, that would be amazing.
Okay. So Steve's coming in from Perth. Thank you. Jen S said, how do you keep track of the tax savings? We just have a little team spreadsheet. And so every time we save a client tax, whether it's for a look under the hood or tax planning or that sort of thing, we just pop that in the spreadsheet. So we've got a whole spreadsheet for years now of everyone's tax savings. It's pretty cool to be able to pull up for one client. We've got clients now who, some of our bigger ones are literally responsible for, over $1 million now.
No, it's amazing. I think you mentioned we're up to 11.5 million now in tax savings. So yeah, it's very fulfilling when you look at that spreadsheet. Now, on top of all of what we've done this year, we actually also hosted a lot of workshops. So 13 workshops, which includes 3 of our main workshops, which is Save Tax, Wealth for Life, and the Property Masterclass. So again, I try to be in the background in these workshops and film all these events. That way we have a recording if it's not online.
Awesome. Funnily enough, that top one in the top right is our last workshop. I think that was the 13th of March, just before they shut down airports.
Yes, no, that was the week before.
Oh, the week. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So yeah, as I mentioned, if you are having a workshop or a webinar, it's so important that you're recording everything. If you're on a podcast, ask the host if you could grab a recording. If you've been invited to be a guest speaker or a panelist, ask for the Zoom recording. And as I said, if it's a workshop, I'm usually in the background filming these events. And the camera that we use is a Canon EOS R, and we have a microphone attached to it as well. So that's a Rode Filmmaker kit. That attaches on top of the camera, and Ben's got a lapel mic. And that just makes a huge difference in terms of the quality of the audio when you're watching these videos. And so the number one question that I get quite a lot is, who do we use to create these amazing videos? How do you get all these templates? And we use Splashio. So yeah, big kudos to Gideon if he's on today. It's just been so simple and easy to use their software. We started off with their 7-day free trial, and it starts as low as $99 a month. You can cancel anytime, and it's a 30-day money back guarantee. So we do have an affiliate link. So it just helps if you want to use them, then that way we've referred you guys over to them, that they know. But yeah, definitely get onto Splashio. They're so easy. And yeah.
And you're going to walk through the process soon of how we actually, cool.
Yeah. So when we do a workshop or a webinar, I usually download the webinar, and I upload it onto a Google Drive folder. Now, we're actually on a premium package with Splashio. So we have a dedicated video editor. Her name's Anya. And yeah, basically I just send her an email and say, hey, here's the link to our Google folder. We just did a webinar. We did a marketing webinar. Could you please extract up to 10 videos out of this webinar for us? So when she extracts these videos, she actually turns it into 3 different formats for us. So there's a square format, which is great for Facebook or LinkedIn. We do a landscape format, which is great for YouTube. If you have blogs, that's a great format for blogs as well. And a portrait format, which is great for Instagram and TikTok. And yes, we've just started a TikTok account. We've got 3 videos on there at the moment. Now, she also transcribes the whole video for us. So I get this transcription, and I basically copy and paste it into a Word document, and I format that transcript, making sure that it's readable, and you can post that as an article, you can post it as a blog, you can post it as an email, and I also turn that long copy into a short copy as well. So I usually use the short copy to accompany a video in our posts.
So they basically do, so they look through our 1 hour, and then they'll go and find the gold nugget, so to speak, and then they turn it into, with nice backgrounds and branded stuff, which again, like they did. We sent them our logo and our colors. That's about it. And they turned it into what you see on social media. And then they go and write the bloody blog post for you too.
Yeah, it's so simple and easy. And the turnaround time with a webinar, if it's a 1 hour length, because they have to watch the whole entire webinar to extract these gold nuggets. So that turnaround time is usually around 7 days. But yeah, we get so much content after that. So with the one video, as I said, we get essentially 5 pieces of content out of the one. So if we times that, if we get 10 videos, then we get essentially 50 pieces of content out of the one webinar. Now, if you have a look at all of the webinars that we've done, all of the speaking engagements, all of the podcasts, we have unlimited sources, like unlimited content essentially for the year. I think I've already got till up to January mapped out, which is amazing. So yeah, another way as well is if you don't have any speaking engagements, you could just pull out your camera. You can even use your iPhone. If you have a look in the bottom one here, Ben was out in the car yard and decided to pull out his camera on his phone, and the quality was just as good. And I think, Ben, also with these ones, they were timed videos you mentioned. So
Yeah, each one of these was pretty timely. So that one where I was at Toyota, I was actually getting the car serviced, and I think it was the day of or the day after that the instant asset write-off was increased to 150 grand, and I guess something like that I feel is actually too long for a webinar. So we're not going to really host a 30-minute or 60-minute webinar for, hey, here's your change to the instant asset write-off. I think that video might have been 4 or 5 minutes long, that one there,
yeah,
just the key changes. And that was actually one of our highest performing videos of 2020. And so I just want to reiterate that I feel like it was pretty timely. So I didn't wait. You just get straight onto it. And then the other thing I think worked here is actually the background. So it's not our normal background like the other three that you can see here are. It's something different. And I think that catches people's attention as well.
yeah, definitely. So the process with these shorter videos, it's actually a 24-hour turnaround time. So if it's a 5-minute video, you upload it onto Splashio, you choose your template, you choose your colors, formats, and submit. And it's the next day, it's all ready to go. And again, it's in that 3 formats as well. So portrait, landscape, square, and it comes with that transcript for you.
Mm.
So yeah, once we get all those videos, we post it across all of our social platforms, blogs, websites, on LinkedIn. So we have 2 accounts on LinkedIn. Ben has his personal account and then our Inspire account. We have 3 accounts on Facebook. So we have an Inspire account. Ben has a Ben Walker fan page account and a personal account. And we've got our YouTube page, we've got an Instagram. As I mentioned, we got TikTok. Ben was recently on a coaching call with Gary Vaynerchuk, so Gary V, if you know him, and he actually recommends posting 12 pieces of content daily. So right now, I think we're up to 9 or 10. So yeah, we need 2 more.
Well, that's it. Hey, we've just had a couple of questions come through, or one of them. Steve's asked, "Do I use a teleprompter at times?" Good question. I have used teleprompters in the past, but that's I've used them almost like for more scripted stuff, like where we might. And it's hard to think of an example. Like we might have been launching some sort of campaign rather than stuff around tax or JobKeeper or those sort of things. So I haven't used one for a very long time. What I do though is behind the camera, I might put a whiteboard just behind it so I can see it, and then I write some main points on there. So let's say it's the instant asset write-off. I just want to write, it goes from 30 grand to 150 grand. So that's one of the points I want to cover off on, and then whatever those other points I want to cover off, but not the whole sentence, just the key idea, just so it prompts me to start talking about it. So yeah, that's in terms of teleprompters. Now, the other thing with putting a whiteboard behind the camera is, and I'm kind of doing it right now, so I'm not looking at my camera screen. Sorry, my actual camera. So that's my camera here. So the problem with a whiteboard is you don't want to be doing that so much. So you need to place your whiteboard just as close as you can to the to the actual camera itself. So I hope that helps, Steve. Jermaine, how do you develop confidence on camera? Any specific tips aside from practice? Jermaine, I think you nailed it. It's just doing it over and over again. And like I still get a bit of nerves if I'm doing a workshop or whatever. It's just, I think the more that you do it, the more that you manage those sort of feelings. And the other thing as well, like I did do a little bit of speaker training, and also did some reading on the topic. So I have listened to a few audiobooks. I've done a course by a guy called Andrew Griffiths as well on speaking. I think it's something that I mean, I've been doing it probably for properly for probably, since 2013 or 14. It's been a very long time. Does your Canon camera have Bluetooth, Jackie? Not that I'm aware of, or I wouldn't know how to do it. We just take the SD card out, chuck it in a thing, and it downloads from there. So, yeah, it might have. I wouldn't have a clue. Jermaine, how do you choose whether to post a piece of content on your personal Ben or Inspire account? It's not a choice. We just do both. So whatever goes on Ben's account goes on Inspire's. The other thing with that, Jermaine, is when I was on the call with Gary V, and it wasn't just me. I'm not that intimate with Gary, but when when I was on that call, someone did ask, "Hey, wouldn't that annoy the crap out of your followers? Like, you're seeing 2 or 3 videos or posts a day, and on multiple platforms as well." So, but Gary said that the algorithms, the Facebook algorithm, won't actually show people your videos continually unless they interact or watch them. So, so basically, if you've got 100 followers and 60 of them don't watch your stuff, they're not going to see it, but the other 30 or 40 might. So don't shy away was his message of just posting for the sake of it. Not for the sake of it though, because crap content is never going to actually be okay. So don't actually just post it for the sake of it, but don't overthink it, I think was the message really from Gaza. How many hours do you spend on content creation? Sounds full on. Eric, we actually are going to cover this because it does, and looking at it, the workshops, the webinars that we've done, I was like, wow, did we do that this year? It does look crazy, but we will get to that in a sec. Vivian, can you provide support in our marketing? I didn't intend to start a marketing business, but I'm not going to say no, but yeah, we will see. Scott, is Rose full time, and what would you recommend for a startup biz as far as getting a marketing person? And where did you find her? CCAT recommendation. Cool. So we will answer a little bit of that soon. And actually, we'll answer that one.
Yeah, I actually, on that one, I actually started at Inspire, not in marketing. I was CSC, just doing some bit of event planning and filming, but I wasn't really in this marketing role. But I guess with the help of Ben and mentoring, putting me through, what do you call it? Coaching, personal development, I guess over a space of 1 year, I've just developed all these skills. So yeah, you can just train someone up into that position.
Yeah.
You can also find an expert as well.
Yeah. And I did a fair bit of learning before Rose came on board around this stuff. So I guess in a way, and I'm not saying I know everything about marketing, but I knew enough almost to be dangerous. And so I was sharing what I'd learned over that time with Rose. Rose is full-time, but we'll go into how much time she puts aside to this stuff soon. And we found Rose through a client who hosted an event for us as well. So it was kind of a recommendation in a way.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right, well, I'll just get to the next slide. So how we schedule our events and plan our content is that we use 2 different platforms. One that I highly recommend is Canva. We're actually using it now to do our presentation, but it's such a great graphic design platform. We do all of our collateral, all of our brochures, all of our stickers, anything to do with designing, it's all on Canva. And I actually want to show you guys our event planner and how we schedule our webinars for the year. And we actually have mapped out all of 2021 next year. So yeah, it's really cool. So if I open that up, so this is our event planner for next year. So we're currently in the month of December, which we're doing the marketing webinar. And it's obviously our last one for the year. School holidays and the Christmas holidays are coming up. But yeah, if we look at January, we've already got 2 webinar placeholders. Now, we don't have topics locked in yet. It's just we've put placeholders in. We've put it in Ben's calendar. And usually at the start of the month, we'll just review, kind of go over what we're going to go through for the month and choose our topics for the webinars. So yeah, if we look at February, we've already got 4 locked in. These are workshops that we've got locked in, another webinar. We're doing a Save Tax online workshop and a face-to-face. So that one's going to be the first time we're going to try and do it in the one event. So we're going to do face-to-face at the same time we're going to be doing it online for people interstate, which will be really cool.
We'll see how that goes.
Yeah. You never know with tech sometimes. So, but yeah, I guess what I'm trying to go here is that we've just put placeholders for the rest of the year. We don't have topics yet, but we'll go through that before the month starts. And right now we have an average of around 2 to 4 events happening each month, which is cool. That's not including external, like getting invited to speak at places, doing podcasts. These are just our own events. Now, the other one that we use is, actually, I won't hit present, is Excel. And this is how I map out our content every single day. And just want to jump into that spreadsheet. And you guys can do this as well. Is you've got, so this is, we go down to December. So today is the 11th, and today we're posting this one. So a quick overview of the federal budget update. Over here is actually where the Google folder is of the videos, the copy, everything. So if I click on that, you'll actually see here are the 3 different formats that we have that Splashio has done for us. These 2, I believe, are the transcripts. And here is the blog that we've formatted, including the short copy as well. So that's just, so it's reconciled all in the one spreadsheet, and you can just quickly access these formats. And then I've also got the blogs here, so you could just click directly that we've posted onto our blog, and also YouTube. Now, I think Ben mentioned before with the process with how we post. So generally, I'll email Ben and say, hey, today we're going to be posting this topic. Cool. So Ben's going to jump on the Google Drive folder. He'll copy the copy and then grab the appropriate format for example, for Facebook, he'll grab the square format and he'll post it. Then that gives me cue to then post it across all of the rest of our platforms on our business page. So when Ben does that, I usually put a yes over here. And then when I've completed my end, I put a yes. So yeah, as you can see for the month of November, we've just smashed it with new content every single day. However, sorry, on weekends, we recycle the content. So yeah, there's some videos that we can recycle on, I guess, every month or every 2 months.
Cool.
Yeah, I'll just go back to our slides. Yeah, I guess that's how we schedule everything, and everything's all in the one place, and it's easy for everyone to know what day we're posting.
Yeah, that's it. Jermaine's asked the question, do you post each topic across all platforms every time?
Correct.
And yeah. And keeping in mind, I think Rose went through that just on Facebook, we've got my personal Facebook profile, my personal brand page, and Inspire's page. So even on Facebook, there's actually 3 different posts per day. It adds up.
Yeah, so I think I mentioned before, we post across 10 different accounts with the same content for that day, if that makes sense. So blog, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, we'll post the same topic. So let's just say this one, can you only withdraw profits from SMSF? We'll post that across all the platforms on that day.
Awesome.
Cool. Cool. So, Ben, did you want to walk us through our budget that we spend each month?
Yeah. Okay. So I guess you might be thinking that this costs like $1 million a year to run, and one of the things that we wanted to do with, I guess, with COVID and the number of changes we saw this year was to really review and make sure that we're getting value out of each of the expenses. And so in terms of the actual cost to deliver what we've just run you through, Splashio is the video platform. Now we pay $1,000 US a month, and that can be, depending on the exchange rate, I think the cheapest I've seen is about $1,300 or $1,400, up to about $1,700 a month. So they produce 20 videos for that in 3 different formats, Rose.
Correct.
But
Yep.
basically 60 videos, and then you get a transcript with each of those. So that's, I think when you break it down per video, I think it's exceptional value for money on that one, especially when they do all the work. You just send them a recording. That's that's a really cool bit.
Actually, what I also want to mention is that we don't do any of the searching for the gold nuggets. We just send it to them and they actually watch the whole entire webinar and find those little key mini clips, I guess.
Yeah, that's it. The next one there is HubSpot. So HubSpot is like our CRM, our customer relationship manager, but also our email marketing platform. I think it's still selling it short to just stop at that. And that $2,000 is not all marketing really. HubSpot is a platform that also runs almost like our sales dashboards and pipelines, along with all our details on our clients, all that sort of stuff. So so when we say $2,000, that's HubSpot itself. But in terms of the marketing elements of it, is HubSpot actually allows you to do email marketing. So we send, if we're not promoting a webinar that we're hosting, we might send a feature video email. Some of you might have seen them, where we just pick probably the most trending video in the past fortnight, and we'll actually send that out to our database and say, hey, here's a video that you might not have seen. Boom, have a watch. And then the other thing we use it for from a marketing perspective is HubSpot has a way of connecting in all your social platforms, and you can post from HubSpot to Facebook profiles and Twitters and Instagram and all that sort of stuff.
So basically you just post the one. So if we're posting one piece of video, you can select Facebook, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter. And if you select all your accounts, it'll actually post it across all of them for you. Yeah.
So it's a few clicks and you save a lot there. So it does that. What else does HubSpot do? And we get some pretty cool analytics out of that as well, like who's clicked on what and so on. So, it's interesting to see when someone becomes a client, we can see all their interactions. It might be a bit creepy, but we can see their interactions in the last, however long we've been using HubSpot for. That's pretty cool. And then with subscriptions, there's a handful of subscriptions that we use, like Canva, which I think is about $20 a month or so for the pro version. We've got survey software, which you might see if you keep an eye out over the Christmas break. We'll be sending out some, do your own sort of Wealth for Life survey, which is pretty cool. But we've got survey software in there, Zapier, little bits and pieces. But that's one of the things that we we don't use 2 things and that's it. There is a handful of other smaller subscriptions we use in there too. So that's about $4,000 a month, just on direct costs. So it's not cheap. It's definitely not cheap, but it's given our results, it's definitely Facebook. It's definitely. Sorry, I was reading something else. It's definitely value for money.
Yeah.
I've just seen a question from Steve. Has Facebook ever shut your ad account? No. We actually don't use ads. Everything we do right now is organic, and I'm pretty amazed by that. We might tweak with ads later, but we don't have any ad spend. Ever done YouTube ads? No. Yeah, no ads. We have done ads in the past, and unfortunately, what it usually look like is thousands of dollars in spending, and the goal was to get people to workshops, yeah, just I mean, compared to what we're doing now, it's almost like it didn't really help.
Yeah, I think we were spending double each month on Facebook ads. So yeah, it's super amazing with the results that we've had for just posting organically across our social media platforms.
Yep. Julia has asked what survey software we use. I think it's called Survey Anywhere. It's a company in Europe somewhere. And we wanted conditional questionnaires and a custom report that was built on the back end of that. I did a fair bit of searching this time last year actually to see what options were out there, and this was the one where you can go into a lot of customization. So if someone says yes, I've done my wills, it will say, you know, great job, or no, I haven't. Hey, you know, 60% of Australians die without a will, and goes on about it. So yeah, it's really good software. Okay, so that's the budget for costs. Now there's also a cost from a time perspective. So Rose, we were actually sitting down and working this out before. Rose reckons about 80% of her role, her full-time hours, let's say, are spent in marketing somewhere. So keep in mind that she also does the event side of things, and also the partnerships, so keeping in touch with our key partners and referral partners at Inspire. So that's her kind of two other roles. Yeah, 80% of a full-time wage, in another way to say that, is from a business perspective, is dedicated to marketing. Now, I think Eric was asking before how much of maybe my time was the question is involved, and my guess is about 10%. So let's say there's 20 working days in a month because we've got weekends in there. Rose and I worked it out. There's about 1 day a month of preparation for speaking gigs and so on, and then there's about 1 day a month of delivery. Now that's spread up within the month. So today's webinar, we're doing an hour of delivery, and thank you to Rose, I probably did about 10 minutes of preparation. In fact, I actually think preparation is a little bit less for me, because I've done a fair bit of it now, and the content that we use is similar messages, just tailored to a different audience. So I did that one for Barbell Babes the other day. That was similar content we share a lot, tailored for the audience. So even that one, I didn't do much preparation at all, maybe half an hour, with an hour and a half of delivery. So it's not crazy. Now remember that we're in those delivery moments where we're recording everything, because once we record it, we send it over to our awesome friends at Splatio, and they turn it into, you know, 60 videos and 20 blog posts in a month. So yeah. Cool. Now, Jen S has asked, what is the rate of return/results with all the marketing done? Okay, great question, and here it is. So, good segue. So Rose has tracked everything. I think that the great thing to do with marketing, in fact, the only thing you can do with marketing, is please track. Always measure, test and measure, just to make sure you're not weeing in the wind with what you're doing. For instance, we mentioned earlier that for us, Facebook ads didn't really work, and you know, we get similar or better results now with organic only. So yeah, I guess where do you direct your spend is always something you need to be looking at. Did you want to run through this, Rose, or you prefer?
Yeah, I can go through this. So how I track it is we use a method called LAPS, and that essentially stands for leads, appointments, presentations, and sales. So from COVID till now, I was able to track how many leads we were able to get each week. So that was roughly 21 a week. So that's new contacts coming into our system, filling in forms, registrations to webinars, surveys. Yeah. The next one is appointments. So from 21 leads, 21 leads then converts 6 appointments. Now, these are what we call strategy calls here at Inspire. And basically, it's having a chat with an accountant for 20 minutes, seeing if there's anything we can do to help them. From there, from the 6, we usually get 1 presentation out of it. Now, that is a look under the hood or a structures and strategies session. Ben, did you want to elaborate more on that one?
Yeah, so from those strategy calls, the accountants will actually talk with the person on, what's their needs, can we actually help, what's the next step, and that usually leads to 1 or 2 spots, which is a look under the hood or a second opinion on that person's tax returns. Or if they're new to business or they're about to start a business or they want to understand their structure, it could be a structures and strategy session. So a bit of a tongue twister, but they're our 2 kind of go-tos as a next step from the strategy call. Now, neither a look under the hood or an SSS means that they become a client at that point. Yes, they have paid us money for one of those 2 things, but there's still no obligation at that point to use us. And it's a way where we can each of us to actually work out whether we want to keep working with each other and seeing if we can provide value to one another. So that's what the presentation part is. So that's dollars, so to speak. Yeah, so that's that one.
So from there, it then converts into 1 sale. So after the look under the hood, usually, they turn into a client. So an average per week, we get 1 new client per week.
Which is pretty amazing. So I guess since COVID, or I think it was from April through to November, we had onboarded 44 or 45 new clients. So it's been definitely been a huge year for us in terms of growth, but also making sure we can still deliver on that. But that's the results. Now, I don't think it's too appropriate to put dollars beside that. Maybe over a beer, but yeah, I guess from a, I don't think it's not that, what's the word? Like our It's All Sorted starts at $550 a month, or that's just under $7,000 a year. And that's our starting price. So some clients do pay more. So you can see that 45 clients times an average spend of about $7,000 and annually, you can start to do the maths on that. It's I think Splashio is definitely, and HubSpot's definitely, and Rose, it's definitely providing value for the effort that we invest.
Awesome. I think that's all we have for today. Ben, I just can't see the Q&A box. Ben, if you could hop over there.
Yeah, no worries. So Eric's asked, Splashio has a $3.99 per month for 20 credits. Are you on a different pricing plan? We are. So the $3.99 a month for 20 credits, I think that is you record your own video, and then they'll go and put the title at the top and the subtitles underneath and put your covers behind it. So that's an example of our that car yard one I did on the instant asset write-off. They don't edit the video. They don't trim off ends or things like that. You submit the video, they send it back ready for social media. So that's the 20 credits that way. We're on I mentioned $1,000 a month for the premium offering. I don't even think they advertise that. So if you do want that, you might have to reach out through their contact us page and just mention that Gideon did register for this. We did see his name there, but just mention that, hey, the guys at Inspire mentioned you do this $1,000 a month US thing. Can you tell us more? And you might jump on a Zoom with them. But yeah, we did have both for a little while. So we had where we just send them in the recording, and then we did have a few credits on the I think we were paying about $100 or $200 a month, because we still did a few that were we edited, or we just did those sort of ones. So yeah. Oh, Gideon, you're here. Sorry, I got excited then. Where are we? Yeah, I can allow you to. Actually, can I promote you to? Here we go. I'm promoting you to panelist, Gideon. How cool! I didn't expect this.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Yeah, really good, mate.
Good.
And yourself?
Very good. I'm actually just driving, so I won't be able to turn my camera on. But yeah, I thought if there's any questions, I'm happy to answer them. If you like.
Yeah, no worries. Well, anyone who's attending, feel free to pop any questions in the Q&A. But yeah, Gideon, did you want to just run us through, I guess, the purpose of that higher level service that you've got?
Yeah, for sure. So there's basically two versions of Splashio. There's the, I guess, what we'd call the self-serve option, which is that option that I'm not sure who it was earlier that said that, like the $3.99 per month option, for example. So it's like a self-serve version of Splashio where whatever you submit, that's what we'll process. So we don't find little snippets within your longer form video content, and we don't write the headlines for you inside each video snippet, for example. So it's more like you submit the video content, you type in your headline, and you choose your settings like your theme or whatever else, and you submit it, and 24 hours later you get it back. So that's a lot more affordable, but you got to do a little bit more work. That's all. Now it's worth saying that we do a little bit of custom stuff there, like say for example you're recording your video on your phone, and there's a part of the video at the beginning where you press record, and at the end you press stop, and we can trim the front and end of videos out really easy. It's no problem as long as you just ask for it. But generally we do it on automatically in any case when it's really obvious. But we do things like if you're using a green screen, if you're recording on a green screen background, we could replace that with something else if you send us an image or something like that, or even a video. And we can like center your video if you want to, like throughout the whole video. The only thing we don't really do is like fancy in video sort of editing where if you want us to chop things out in the middle and stitch things together and do B-rolls and all that fancy sort of animations within the video, we don't do those. But all those other things that I mentioned, we definitely do them. So that's the self-serve version. And then there's the premium version, which you guys are on, Ben and Rose. And so that's where we basically, it's more like a white glove kind of service where basically all you got to do is send us your longer form video content, like a webinar, for example, or a Facebook Live event that you had, or maybe you've spoken on stage before, and you've got a recording of that. It can be either video or audio. And then basically our team will take that content, we'll go through it, and find all the valuable little snippets, cut them out, and then we've got a professional copywriter that will look at that content and write a catchy headline that will stop people in their tracks when they're on social media, so they can stop and watch the video. And then we'll push it through the production system where we basically create them in batches. So we don't have a 24-hour turnaround for those because there's obviously a lot more work. But we do it in batches. Normally we can deliver within about a week, and from when the transaction goes through, 1 or 2 weeks, depending on what needs to get set up. Yeah, that's the main difference.
Awesome. No, that's really good. And I just want to say thank you and give some gratitude to you, Gideon. I think we spoke in maybe March or April this year, and I've got to say, as you can tell with this webinar, it's almost the Splashio webinar. You have been really, really fantastic, the service that you provide.
And you guys are just model clients. It's wonderful working with you. So thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you. Alrighty. Well, I also just posted a link in the chat channel for our Facebook page. If you do want to see examples of the types of things that that Splashio delivers in terms of the videos, there's plenty of examples on our Facebook page. So have a look. And again, most of them, in fact, probably 90-something% of them, will be the ones where their team have gone and extracted the gold nuggets out of. So and drafted that copy, and I think Rose does a bit of work on our end, just getting it ready to post. So especially do the transcript, we just put a title on the top, make sure it's all correct, and then yeah, the outcome is what you see on Facebook. That's pretty cool. Well, Steve's asked Gideon if there's any special webinar rates. I'll leave that to work out, but they're worth every cent, mate. Very applicable to legal firms. Yeah, thanks, Steve. Appreciate that. Alrighty. Well, just in terms of content. So, my biggest thing when we were starting out is, how do you get content to then send to someone like Splashio to chop up and do those awesome things with. Even as simple as getting on a Zoom meeting with a client, and I wouldn't talk about private stuff with them, but high level stuff, almost like you're having a beer or a coffee. Just record a Zoom and send that conversation to the team. And like just normal questions and answers that your top clients would ask you. That's the sort of stuff where it's going to be high value sharing with your market in general. So even if it's just as simple as that, even one of your team members, if you can't find a client who'll run through that, or but yeah, I mean, there's so many different ways you can do this, but this has definitely worked for us. Alrighty, well, that's about it from Rose and I. Thank you, Jackie.
Thank you.
Jackie said, I can hear Gideon is from South Africa like you. He is from South Africa, I think. Definitely Africa somewhere, but he does live in the Sunshine Coast. So he's a local Queenslander. Well done. Thanks, Vivian. Really good to have you on again. And I was actually speaking to Sakshi this morning about you. Awesome. Thanks, Jen. Hey, really enjoyed this one, and interesting to see how responsive everyone has been to it. So thanks for joining. Thanks, Scott. Thanks, Jermaine. And yeah, hopefully we'll see some people soon.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.